Hello. Not gonna lie, I wasn't really sure about doing this one, but truth's the truth. You gotta show it, right, to understand it. I always find that's my best way. Like, if I am afraid of something, or I'm not sure about something, I will go learn about it, whether it's through classes, like I did a lot of lifelong learning classes with the Oldham Council, the Oldham Library, sorry. At the minute I'm doing classes with the Growth Company. If I can't find classes, I'll do online classes. Any training, any jobs I've ever thrown my way, I've took them. Just whatever I can get, whatever I can learn, I will learn. I always think the more we know about things, the better, because then it gives us an idea of what we're dealing with for a start. But anyway, yeah. You'll have to forgive me if this one's a bit messy. I'm a bit messy myself right now. I suppose a bit like Tyler's drawing that we went through last night. His brain all fogged and overflowing. That's a bit like me right now. Bit of brain fog. I did check actually just to see. I know this might sound strange, but for me, like I've held out 6 days, which for me is actually quite good considering. Well, it wasn't really 6 days because this started coming on 2 days ago, but I was able to hold it back for those 2 extra days. But the last time I was like this was 6 days ago. So in theory, really, technically it was 4 days of my highs, and then the last 2 days were just fighting those thoughts and feelings of holding back those thoughts and feelings of my lows. My lows tend to come out more than anything in anger, obviously, because, you know, my inner child is very angry, you know. My gran used to always say cup of tea and toast before bed. I'm not good with the toast bit, but a cup of tea. I remember she used to make me one every night before bed. It's the best cup of tea I've had. But yeah, so anyway, as I say, my brain is very messy, so if I do go off track more than usual, I do apologise. As I say, this one may be a difficult one, so I should probably put in before I go any further. There may be triggers in this video. Obviously, as it is concerning mental health, there can be very high triggers in this video. So if you do feel like you may be triggered quite easily, or triggered at all, not just easily, just triggered at all, then I would suggest find another video. Okay, so I suppose let's do this. We've been honest so far, so let's keep going. As I say, I do feel like the more we know about things, the easier it is to deal with them, the easier it is to exist with it or coincide with them. Today has been a difficult one. Last time I think I was at this state, at my low stage. I think I said I was about a 7. So thankfully one of the bonuses, I suppose, of today is it doesn't feel like it's a 7 today. It just feels like a 5. Which, again, I know sounds ridiculous, but for me, it kind of is a bonus, because the lower down the scale I am, the easier I can get on with my day-to-day life, in a sense. Children are there and things like that now, so yeah, let's do this. So if we start, as you can see, for once I ain't all smiley and happy. Say it has been just normal everyday things, I suppose. Like I have a court case coming up in a couple of weeks, so you're getting paperwork together for that. I'm doing some training at the minute, so there's that to consider, like where the kids are gonna go while I'm in training, especially if they're ill. There's things going on at home every day anyway, that you just, your normal everyday today sort of dealings. There's the constant harassment from my ex, even like nearly a year and a half later, through all sorts of channels, including friends. There's the everyday today life of a single parent. It's just, like I say, those things do tend to pile up. And I have said this before, we are all or nothing people, so it's either all good or it's all bad. So we can either face these things and still smile and still, get on with the day happy and cheery and giddy. Or sometimes if it becomes overwhelming, like I say, we can't stop those feelings from coming. We can't stop those feelings from coming over us, so we kind of tend to have to deal with it, really. Just deal with it. It's really difficult right now because, as well as physical changes that you might notice, there's a lot of other changes as well. So literally my head's spinning right now, but it's blank. But it's not blank, it's full. It's absolutely full. It's so full, but it's blank, and it's just spinning. I feel dizzy. I feel like my eyes are literally just going round in circles in the sockets, just spinning. It's hard on these days not to feel like a failure, especially when your other moods are so high. Coming into these lows, you kind of question yourself. Sometimes other people can question you. Things like that. Yeah, it just becomes a lot. It becomes difficult just talking to people as well sometimes, because you've really got to think about the words, what you're trying to communicate, and just literally words. You have to try and remember words, and sometimes you can't remember words, just simple words, you can't remember them. So it can be very difficult to speak to people, or just to speak in general. Eye contact is a difficult one. Normally I would be addressing you very directly, looking into the camera, but because I am struggling so much with what I'm trying to say, I kind of have to I kind of had to search for those words. So yeah, I suppose it's not eye contact anyway, because you know it's over a video, but you get what I mean, yeah. So yeah, like I say, those things do kind of pile up, and as much as we do hold the floodgates back, like I said, over the last 2 days, I have really been pushing my back up against that wall, like even to the extent that my back physically hurts, even though I've not really done much to it. I haven't actually physically been holding a wall up or anything like that, but my back, shit, just doing that, the exhaustion, like, can just come through your entire body. And as I was saying this morning, it does get to the stage where you don't even want to be a human anymore. You don't want to be anything anymore. You just don't want it. Like, I do have spiritual beliefs, but I have a very different spiritual belief to your usual spiritual belief, as in, I don't have one spiritual belief, I believe in them all. Not in the sense of like I will follow every messiah out there, just in the sense that, you know, each spiritual belief, each religion is created through one community of love, and, you know, whatever those beliefs are, or whatever, you know, guidances those beliefs sort of take you through, they are just that. They are guidance through life, they are your support through life, and they are that community of a bigger, there's something that's bigger than yourself, and it's a community of love for this one belief, or this one religion. So like I say, I tend to, I won't lie, I was a little bit traumatized with Christianity through my childhood, so that one I can't turn to. I really can't. But, you know, I have family that are Christians and believers, and I respect that, and I can understand that, and I can understand the love for that. So my spirituality, tends to come in the form of, I suppose, a universal spirituality. A big believer in nature, a big believer in humans. Believe it or not, just I'm a big believer in humans and what they can achieve in the right frame of mind, or with the right support. I'm a big believer in nature, in all that it provides for us, not just physically but mentally and spiritually also. I don't know, sometimes I freak myself out with the belief of, you know, that, well, I suppose it doesn't always freak me out, because sometimes it's comforting, you know, to believe that your ancestors do walk alongside you. Sometimes I can freak myself out with it though, because I'll be like, oh, you know, on the toilet or something. This is just my stupid brain. On the toilet or something, and I'm like, oh my god, are they watching me? Of course not, Lara. But that's just my stupid brain, like we say. But yeah, I do hold a lot in the feelings of being connected to something bigger based on love, because that's where it all starts and that's where it all ends, always. So yeah, anyway, like I said, today, as much as I did push my back up against that wall today, it took over. It did take over, which makes it difficult. Sorry, hang on. That's the dryer shouting at me because it's finished its cycle and I've not turned it off. So, um, um, so yeah, as I say, as much as I was holding my back to that wall, today it was gone. It was gone. I had no strength. I hope if you are feeling sad, at least that's giving you a laugh, you know. I forgot who it is. Is it Tintin who has that sticking up on his head? Something like that. Who knows? It's just gonna stay there. It's not gonna go. It's giving me a giggle, so that's fine. I could do with a giggle. Yeah, today was difficult to contain it. Obviously, with the kids, I do need to contain it as much as possible because that is not fair. They are children. It's not for them to deal with. So getting through a day, so if they're acting out or something like that, trying to get through that day without wanting to throw them out of the window, I suppose for any mum really. Not that I would physically throw them out of a window, just, getting through that day with a smile on your face or with the neutral, the neutrality, the neutral persona that you need to use to be a parent. It can be very difficult. By the end of it, you can sometimes feel like you've just had enough. Before it's even started, you can feel like you've just had enough. Like, yeah, it is difficult. But we're at the end of it. So, obviously, as I've said before, these feelings, we can't do anything to stop them. We can't do anything to prevent them. We can't just pull ourselves out of them. But when you have two lives to care for, and you have to be a mum, and you have to have that caring nature and that side of you to nurture your children, you can't really let those feelings overcome you, because you just can't. There's two lives there at risk if you do that. Not at risk, but I say at risk. It's not like I'd lash out and do anything. It's more the fact that if they're seeing that, then that's something that they might copy in later life. So they're at risk of taking on my mental health issues. Really, let's face it now. So when I say at risk, that's what I mean. It's not like I'm gonna go batter my children or anything like that. I'm not that psychotic. although I may look at times. But yeah, so getting to the end of the day can be very difficult. Obviously, a friend had noticed, and she was just like, I just want to check you're okay. And I did try sending a video to tell her that we're okay, I'm okay. Tyler's had a really good day at school, Stanley's had a really good day, we've been playing, we've been reading, been doing this, that and the other. But then when you've got a face like this and you just look angry, it's not always very believable, is it? Going, yeah, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay, yeah, I'm okay, I'm okay. Not because I didn't want to tell her what was going on, because she is one of the people I can speak to about this. She is one of the people that when she's asking, are you okay? She genuinely means it. It was just more because, one, if I opened the gates there and then, again, puts children at risk of seeing that. So I couldn't really deal with it at that moment in time. And two, I was okay because I was functioning, and like I say, for me it was only a 5, so it doesn't feel as bad, or it doesn't seem as bad to me. So I was okay. I am okay in a sense. I'm not okay, but I'm functionable, if that makes sense. Just about. I'm just about functionable. I see my kids cared for, fed, tea's been made, everything that needs doing for them has been done. Bear with me. Sorry. Yeah, so everything that did need doing was done for them. It's just hard. It's just really hard. And because we can't stop it, we have no choice but to feel it. Even when we don't want to feel it, we've just got to feel it. We've got to sit in it. For however long it takes, we don't get to decide. This, like I said, this for me, for my kind of reality, I did well going that long without getting to this point. But of course, that point is going to come, and it's the days like this are the days that it's hard not to personally reinforce that trauma that you've been through, constantly reinforcing those narcissistic voices in your head that, you're not good enough, you're not a good mum, you're a shit mum, you're not a good person, you don't deserve to be loved, you don't deserve to be seen, you don't deserve to be hurt. And it's hard not to personally reinforce those voices, because those are the voices, excuse me, because those are the voices you are used to hearing. And you do start hating on yourself. Not just on yourself, you start hating on your brain. I think I literally said it in a message, it's just this brain, it won't stop, never stops. It's either high or it's low, there's no in between. There's no break and there's no stopping it. We just gotta sit it out and we've just gotta be okay with it. So yeah, it does get hard on these days. Not to hear those bad voices. Say you do get physical, mental changes also that come with it. My examples, see, I forgot about my examples. So, for example, today I've been very, very messy. I've not changed. Still not changed. I've not washed my hair. I've just scraped it back in a greasy ass bun. I've not washed the pots. Yeah, just I feel very tired, exhausted, so I'm usually in a slouched or slumped over position. It has become very clumsy, very forgetful, very clumsy. I've literally walked into everything today. Everything you can think of, the table, the chairs, the little step, Lego pieces I've stood on, shark tooth keyrings that I've knelt on. And they're stupid little things, but they all add to it. Because that's just how it functions. It just adds to it and adds to it and adds to it. But you can't. You kind of have to desperately hold that back until you have your safe space. Now, as an adult, our safe space is different to a child's safe space. Well, my safe space, I suppose, is different to a child's safe space. I was going to say, like, obviously with a child, they would usually have someone to go to, which is necessary. Scientifically, a child does not develop the brain processes to self-soothe until they're 21. So without that reassurance and that soothing from a parent, they will struggle in later life. So for a child, like I say, they usually would be around a secure adult guardian or something that would create that safe space for them to help them process the emotions, to show them how to soothe and how to cope. My safe space is very different. My safe space, I don't really have someone to go to, so my safe space would be when the children are in bed. And I know they don't have to see this, so I know I can break down without them having to worry. Or I know I can stay hidden while I cry. Those are my safe spaces. And yeah, so you really have to try and, like, the floodgates have already broken, so you ain't fixing that. You just kind of, I don't know, you being hit basically by these waves of emotion, and you've just got to stand as firm and as strong as possible for as long as possible until you can get to that safe space. That's the only way you can describe it. The gates are open and you're being hit from head to toe with these waves of water just rushing at you. But you have to stand as firm as possible. And it becomes physically draining also. Not just mentally draining, it becomes physically draining because it does kind of sort of roll into it, or it's all connected, isn't it, really? And it's hard being that strong. For so long, especially when you aren't actually that strong. In actual fact, you're really quite weak. Because if you were strong, you wouldn't be like this. You'd be much better. So yeah, they say they can be small things that do sort of mount up. Some days, like I say, all those things mount up, and we will face them with a smile on our face, and we will be strong, and we'll laugh it off. And other days, it'll mount up and mount up and mount up, and you can feel it coming. But you know you've got to function. You know you've got to be a person. You know you've got to be a mother. And you know there's no one to lean on. So you have to stay strong. Until eventually the floodgates open. And then you've just got to get hit with it all. Until you can finally breathe again. Until you're in your safe space. Until it is finished. Because you don't get to control when it's finished. So this is day 3 now. The first 2 days were only small floods. They were easy to hold back. But there's no saying that this won't carry on for another day, 2 days, 3 days, a week. Sometimes it can all be in the space of one day. You can start your morning, happy Lara, the outside Lara, I suppose. And by dinner time, you're this Lara. And then by night time, you're a different Lara. There's just so many of them. And it's hard in those times not to feel like you do need someone there. Well, not to want someone there. Which, again, sometimes can lead to those toxic relationships. Sometimes it can always lead us back to toxic relationships also. Because any kind of affection, any kind of love, anything, just anything, just to feel something other than this, we will look for it. So one of the reasons, like I say, why I decided to stay single was because of this. It's difficult for me to deal with, and I've dealt with it a long time. It's difficult for friends to sometimes deal with, and even though they do, that's they don't have to deal with it all the time. They get to give me back, or they get to set their boundaries. So in relationships, I tend to deal with it on my own. Very self-sufficient. I had to be, really. My last partner would literally tell me it was mine to deal with and mine alone, not for him to deal with. So, yeah. And if I did ask for help, it could become very threatening. Not in the sense of hitting you or anything like that, because that wouldn't bother me, and they know this. Sometimes there's worse things than being hit, especially for someone like me. So they threatened to kick you out of the house, knowing you had nowhere to go, knowing that you loved them completely. Silent treatments, just complete withdrawal of love and affection. And then they'd make you believe that you'd cause that anyway, which is believable, having this condition. And then they would make you believe that you deserved that, which again is believable with this condition. And then, when you do kind of question those things, they tell you it didn't happen, tell you he was lying. They'd just deny it, say they don't remember it. Tell people that you made it up. Things like that. So even from a very young age, doesn't necessarily just is not necessarily always necessarily just partners that do this type of thing. I have spoke before on a different platform about my childhood and about the things that I had gone through and the strain in that relationship that I had. That one does seem easier to talk about, if I'm honest, just because that's one that I've dealt with. That's one I've overcome already. So that one is easier to talk about. Kind of stops the tears. That's good. So things like that can obviously be reinforced right through to adulthood, from childhood into your adulthood, and it can become at a stage. So for example, when I was younger and I did speak out about something that was going on, and I was trying to I don't know, salvage, I don't know, don't get me wrong, I was acting out myself also, because things were wrong, things felt wrong to me, and I just wanted it to end, I wanted it to stop. I wanted it all to stop. I didn't want it anymore. I just wanted I wanted us to be whole again. That's all I wanted. And so when I would speak to professionals about this, obviously being such a young age, I did have guardians with me, and instead of reinforcing what I was saying, they would tell the professionals that I can make things up, that I sometimes dream things and they're not necessarily true. Back then, we've said before, children tended to be more of a seen and not heard kind of people. And when your guardian is telling someone this, more often than not, they will be believed over the child, because children can have a wild imagination. And it kind of becomes the child's belief after a while. Maybe I did make it up. Maybe it didn't really happen to me. Maybe I should just stay quiet when these things happen, because maybe they're not actually happening. There was actually one night I was physically attacked on my own street, walking home. I must admit that's not very easy to talk about, but I was assaulted by a man twice my size. I couldn't move, I couldn't scream, I couldn't do anything. But I couldn't tell anyone either, because I make these things up. So I went home, I washed, I threw up, and I got told off. And so after that, when you have it happen once, you think, okay, maybe. But when it happens over and over again, and it happens over and over again, you do start to think you're the problem. And that stays with you for a long time. And that's what creates these disorders. Because sometimes I genuinely can't tell if I'm lying or not, even if I know I've done it. I can knock on a door, 5 minutes later, I'll be asking myself, did I even knock? I'm sure I knocked. No, I don't think you knocked. You know what you're like, you can make it's like something, you might have just imagined it. Imagine that through your entire life. And then being honest about it to jobs who use it against you, to people that use it against you, to partners who you're supposed to love and trust, and who tell you that they love you and they use it against you. It is hard not to keep reinforcing those thoughts, even myself, especially on days like this. And it doesn't stop. So yeah, I should probably finish there, because It's been about 45 minutes. But I just, as I say, I did want to show the other side of it. I wanted to show that, you know, sometimes we really can't help these things. And whether you find it okay or not doesn't matter, because it has to be okay, because I have no other choice but to make it okay. Otherwise I won't survive. No, thousands and thousands of other people out there just like me. They won't survive. Not in this world. But anyway, thank you for listening, as always. I hope I gave a trigger warning. If I didn't, I'm sorry. It's a bit late now. I don't know if I did. I think I did. I don't know. But anyway, it's too late now. Sorry if I didn't give a trigger warning there and you've just had to sit through that and now you're going through it all yourself. I do apologise. Do feel free to have a rant at me. It's understandable. Thank you for listening. I don't know what I'm saying. My brain's really dizzy and fucked right now, so I do apologise. But yeah, sweet dreams. Thank you very much, and I love you all. Night night. Oh shit, I'm clumsy.